fans at home, or I think about the average person in media. If you were to get offered, $70,000, $80,000 a year or something like that, maybe up to like $100,000 realistically, especially, and without even having to ask for a raise, if I were to offer that to somebody, I feel like every person watching this, as well as like the 90% of people working in media, would hear that number and be like, oh, I could get paid that much to be in the office like 2 days a week for like 5 or 6 hours per day. I don't really think that that's that offensive. But then when you come down to like, oh, $300 per appearance, that sounds bad. So that's what everybody's saying. Nobody's talking about the fact that this was like a person who was doing a lot of content on the channel at a certain point.
Yes.
And the thing about that is that it's like, this is kind of the overall thing that I was getting sick of towards the end of a lot of what was going on, is the fact that people were so comfortable putting these bullshit narratives out there, in particular ones that made me look bad. And meanwhile, I'm just sitting back and just looking at it and seeing everybody. The reality is everybody's like, why didn't you put TRELL on a contract? And keep in mind, I was letting him do whatever he wanted outside of No Jumper. I wasn't trying to have any kind of control over the fact that he was streaming on his own or whatever. A non-exclusive deal where you're getting paid that significant of an amount of money, where you then get to go home and talk about whatever the fuck you talked about on No Jumper on your own shit, I'm not really buying the idea that this was not generous. Because I've already painted the picture about the fact that I was essentially taking a loss on a lot of the content. People choose to hear that and just read into it and be like, oh, that's offensive. That's mean. You didn't appreciate them. No, I'm being honest with you. And you know the fucking numbers because they're transparent. You guys are making the same amount. That what I'm talking about, that $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, whatever it might have ended up being based on how much shit he was doing, they left, or TRELL specifically, he left that to go do their own podcast, split 4 ways. So, if I had to guess, I would say that, an average episode makes $400, $500, $600. Maybe you kill it that month or that week and you make $1,000. So, I'm not trying to say that like them doing their own independent thing is a bad idea or whatever, because if they wanted to do that, I support them. But you are talking about swapping out maybe making $100,000 a year for maybe making like $200 a week. Because now you're actually earning the amount that content earns and splitting it up evenly. Whereas before, you had this fucking white guy benefactor who was just artificially amplifying the price for that kind of content because we enjoyed having it on the channel. And, we were trying to make it work. And, TRELL is someone who, if he had came to me and said, hey, I want to get on a contract and I want to get paid X amount of dollars, I would have been 100% open to that conversation. Even right before he left the platform, I remember we were having a conversation on his channel where he was talking about Lush. And he kind of said something about how he felt like he should have been getting paid more. And you go listen to how I responded to it. I was 100% open to it because I realized that he was a valuable part of the operation. And I felt like, if he wanted to have that conversation, if he wanted to get on a consistent contract, he would just ask me. And it's crazy because the other day, I don't even know that much about these guys, but I know that like MacWap is like one of their friends or whatever. And I just seen a clip of them talking about it. And they totally agreed with me. They were like, yeah, like if he wanted to get paid more, he should have asked him. And I'm like, why am I watching your friends who don't even know me, or I'm pretty sure they talk shit about me or whatever. I don't pay that much attention, but why am I watching them totally get it while I'm watching a 30-minute clip that you made with bullet holes in the thumbnail of you just like intentionally pretending like you made a good move, like as if it was a really brilliant genius business move to quit before you saw how much money you could potentially get paid. I don't know. I just feel kind of baffled by that whole thing.
Maybe he just felt like his that opportunity wasn't there for him, because he was there. He's been here for like over a year before he ended up like leaving, and he's done so much shit. Like you were saying, maybe in his mind he was just like, oh, I'm not being taken seriously.
Why wouldn't he ask? Huh? Sorry, I'm just throwing my car key to
Can
Josh
we
right now.
insert with this little break and just say that he said several times that he was doing it for the views? If you want to come at him, let's get the views up. Can we agree that some of the content was fabricated because the views had to be at what they?
I mean, it has to be about the views at a certain point, right? Because you have a 30-minute video in which the stated intent in the title is that it's going to be some sort of like bombshell accusation thing against me, or like him explaining what he has against me or whatever. And then you actually watch it and there's really nothing. There's no substance to it. And so that makes me actually kind of wonder, like, do you have confidence that you can get a viral clip from talking about anything besides me? Because it kind of feels like that's where this is going, is that TRELL is just so aware of the fact that his clips don't go viral unless he talks about me, that even me talking about him in a very, kind way, in my opinion, on that Sharp interview where I did not say anything negative about him at all and really just kind of ruminated for a few minutes about the fact that I sort of regret the fact that we don't have a relationship anymore. That was enough.
To your employees, you never spoke bad about them to us either. Let's put that on camera too. Nobody dirty macked the situation and said, "Oh, this dude is that." Right. It's always been good things, and like you said,
and I haven't said anything bad about them on this channel, period. And even right now, I'm not exactly like dissing him.
Yeah,
I'm just speaking on my
but he said
fair
that he was
opinion.
Grateful, and then he contradicts himself and says that he's grateful for the opportunity also.
Right.
Okay, I'll go back to what you were saying.
It's just, I didn't want to speak on it in the moment of like when it was happening and everything, because I'll be honest, my feelings were pretty hurt, which apparently, like, I got him and Heather and they're roasting me for acknowledging that I have feelings. And then in the same breath, basically saying that I'm this heartless monster that only cares about business or whatever, and it's like, how do those two things exist at the same time? How are you saying that you're a boss, but you never thought to have a conversation about your pay? Because he don't even have to look far to see examples of how to move, because AD wasn't shy about asking for money. And AD, he can't run with this kind of narrative because he fucking went on his stream a million times, went on other podcasts, whatever, and said, I'm getting paid well from No Jumper. Because he asked, because he tried to get paid as much as he could. And even there were times where we had conversations about money and we were like, listen, we can't pay you that much, or we have to do some different things, or you have to get paid from We Hungry like this. We'll give you a percentage of the income versus just a flat fee, et cetera, et cetera. We worked it out because, it behooves us to do so. And I don't know, it's just, it's really kind of shocking how compelling the victimhood narrative is for people, that even when I'm a person who put him in a position to make a lot of money and to build a fan base and to build up his own platform at the same time, but somehow he's still a victim in this situation. Like, he views himself as somebody who had something really bad done to them, even though he's not able to identify what that thing is. And so, I don't know, I think that might be the majority of what I wanted to say. But it's like, I see so many people in the comments and everything who are starting to realize that there's just no legs to this argument, to this idea that Adam treated these guys badly. And like, I mean, even one other situation. This is like one of the only things that I actually thought about writing down when I was listening to his little 30-minute clip about me or whatever. But the DoKnow thing. Because DoKnow is somebody who, him, AD, whatever, like, I feel like they've been like largely cool through this whole breakup or whatever. It's not like they're just going super out of their way to talk shit or whatever. So I don't want to make it about them. And I still do have love for those guys and never expected us to be in a position where we had anything against each other or whatever. But DoKnow tells like a very, very simplified version of a story involving him. And I think the fact that I still don't consider it an easy decision at all, but like that the narrative has been painted as if I just did something horrible, that's something I want to speak on too. So basically, we had a situation where there was a YouTuber, and I guess I'll just say his name because everybody's going to know anyway, but American Cholo, Mexican dude, I think he got locked up for a while or whatever, but he's got a street background and everything. Shout out to him. This is not an attempt to diss him or whatever, but basically,
he
welcome
to No Jumper. Fuck all the nice shit. Go ahead.
Well, okay. He was discussed on the channel at a certain point because it was during the whole Tyga thing, and basically DoKnow had sent some shit about the Tyga I Carumba video where DoKnow said, fuck all that, this video is cool, like y'all are just complaining, et cetera, et cetera. And so then American Cholo, who at the time we didn't even know about, he came out, he made a video basically saying that DoKnow was not representing his people right or whatever by not pressing the issue about the I Carumba video, right? And so we spoke about it on the show, and then a few days later, he did an interview on the radio with Tyga, and then I think like the next day or a couple days later, basically Flacco hits up the social media group chat. Look, keep in mind, at this time, every single person in the social media group chat, I believe, besides me, is of color, right? Actually, they're all black. So they started having a conversation about a clip that had come out that was basically American Cholo, and he was referring to Tariq Nasheed as a 4-letter derogatory racial slur that is spelled COON that I'm not going to say. And everybody in the group chat was pretty upset about this and wanted to post it, thought that it was a fair thing to post. Now, I okayed it. I said, yeah, fucking, it seems newsworthy to post, for sure, do it. And it went up, and it became more and more of an issue because American Cholo was claiming that it was taken out of context. Anybody who wants to like go Google this, you could probably go view it, and you could decide if you think it's out of context. But the result of it was that basically, I don't know if it was said directly to him or if it was just kind of through the grapevine, but DoKnow became aware of the fact that this might cause a problem for him, that him as a representative of No Jumper, that some people were so angry about this that they were trying to get on him to get it deleted. Now, think about what position this puts me in as a white business owner that owns a business that is oriented around hip hop. I'm being told that because of essentially like a threat, I've got to remove this thing that my team feels like is a actual story. It's an actual interesting thing that needs to be discussed, that they've considered offensive or whatever.
Wanted you to remove the fact that Cholo called some black people coons.
DoKnow wanted me to remove it.
Well,
and American Cholo wanted me to remove it. The entire social media team, of course, didn't.
Why did he say it publicly if he didn't want it to go viral? I mean,
you would have to see the whole thing in context, but it was like, I still don't understand what American Cholo's actual argument was for like why this was out of context.
Because he don't want to look racist.